officers arrest him. There's no way someone like him drives a Rolls.
This is my car!
Imagine walking into a neighborhood you're about to invest millions into, only for the HOA president to look at you and assume you're the driver, then laugh in your face, telling you someone like you could never own a Rolls-Royce, demanding to know whose car you stole. That's exactly what happened today to Trayvon Hale, a black man. She thought she was talking to a nobody. What she didn't know was that she was talking to the man who already owned her future. The heat rolled over Maple Ridge Reserve like a slow wave that afternoon, bouncing off the perfectly trimmed lawns and spotless sidewalks that Marlene Greeley liked to brag about in every HOA newsletter. She was the president, the self-appointed guardian of the neighborhood, and she loved the title more than anyone else did. Today, though, Marlene was buzzing with extra excitement. She had a life-changing meeting, as she called it, with a business partner who planned to buy the entire neighborhood's properties and assume oversight of the HOA. She'd been communicating for weeks with the partner's personal assistant, a white woman named Rebecca Vaughn. And Marlene had already decided in her head that Rebecca must be rich, polished, and exactly the type of person she wanted running Maple Ridge Reserve with her. Marlene didn't know much about the actual investor, except that Rebecca handled everything. But that worked fine for her. She preferred dealing with someone who understood the neighborhood's values, as she always put it. What Marlene didn't know was that earlier that morning, the investor changed the plan. After hearing rumors about the HOA's behavior, he decided to come see things for himself. No assistant, no entourage, just him. So when the white Rolls-Royce Phantom glided through the gate and rolled into the Maple Ridge Community Center parking lot, Marlene's entire face lit up. Finally, she thought, a woman of class arriving in a car worthy of Maple Ridge Reserve. She even straightened her blouse in the window's reflection, preparing her welcoming smile. But then the driver's door opened, and a black man stepped out. Tall, clean-cut, dressed in a dark tailored suit that cost more than her monthly salary. He closed the door gently, lifted a leather briefcase from the passenger side, and began walking toward the Maple Ridge Community Center entrance. Marlene's smile evaporated instantly. Her brows tightened. No, she muttered under her breath. This must be wrong. She marched toward him, heels stabbing into the pavement. You, she snapped. You must be the driver. The man paused, calm, steady. No, ma'am, I'm not the driver. Marlene laughed, the kind of laugh people use when they're pretending you made a joke. Oh, please. This car? And you? Come on now. Where's the owner? I have a meeting with someone very important. He lifted his briefcase slightly. I'm who you're meeting with. She cut him off immediately. No, my meeting is with a woman. A white woman. You're not her, so state your business here. I don't have time for games. And just like that, the trouble began. The man didn't flinch. Not at her tone, not at her arrogance, not even at the disbelief dripping off every word she spoke. He simply adjusted the cuff of his suit and said, Ma'am, I think there's been a misunderstanding. No, Marlene snapped, raising a hand like she was stopping traffic. You misunderstand. I have a very important appointment with a potential buyer, someone who actually belongs here, someone who respects this neighborhood's standards. Her eyes slid up and down him with disdain. Whatever this is, he exhaled quietly. Marlene, right? HOA president? That's Mrs. Greeley to you, she said proudly, arms folding across her chest like a barrier. And unless you're here to clean something or drop off a package, you're wasting my time. He kept his tone even. Mrs. Greeley, I'm trying to tell you that Save it, she snapped again. Where did you get that car? Because someone like you doesn't just show up in a Rolls-Royce out of nowhere. Whose is it really? He blinked once. It's mine. Marlene laughed out loud, a sharp, mocking sound echoing across the parking lot. Right, sure. And I'm the Queen of England. She stepped closer, lowering her voice but sharpening it at the same time. Listen to me carefully. I don't know what scam you're trying to pull, but it won't work here. This is a private community. He tried again, calm as before. Mrs. Greeley, I'm the person you're meeting with. No, you're not, she barked. I've been communicating with a woman, a professional, and trust me, she wouldn't send someone like you. He sighed, realizing logic wouldn't win here. Marlene pulled out her phone. You know what? Never mind. I'm not about to let some stranger with a stolen story and a stolen car cause problems in my neighborhood. He shook his head. Don't do that. You're making a mistake. Oh, I'm correcting a mistake, she hissed, dialing. Hello, yes. Police? I need officers immediately. There's a black male here in a stolen Rolls-Royce. Yes, a stolen Rolls-Royce. Sending the address now. He closed his eyes briefly as she talked, then stepped back, letting the call happen. Within minutes, a patrol car rolled through the gate. Two officers stepped out, hands resting near their utility belts. Marlene rushed to them, breathless with self-importance. That's him, she pointed. He needs to be removed. The officers approached him. Sir, one said, we need to ask you a few questions. He simply handed over his documents, his license, his registration, his car title, all matching, all legitimate. Marlene's smile began to crack, but not her denial. He's lying, she insisted loudly. He still hasn't said why he's here. The officers exchanged a look, the kind people make when they realize the situation isn't what they were told. One officer stepped aside and radioed in the car's information. 30 seconds later, the confirmation came back clean. The Rolls-Royce Phantom was legally registered to the man standing calmly in front of them. Everything checks out, the officer said, returning his documents with a respectful nod. The vehicle is his. Marlene's mouth dropped open. No, that can't be right. Run it again. Ma'am, Officer Ramirez said firmly, the information is correct. But Marlene wasn't letting it go. She pushed past the officer and glared at the man. Then why are you here? You still haven't explained yourself, because you're definitely not the person I have a meeting with. He adjusted his sleeves again, calm, patient, and far more composed than she deserved. Mrs. Greeley, he said evenly, for the third time, I am the person you're meeting with. Marlene scoffed so loudly it drew stares. Absolutely not. I've been emailing a woman, a white woman, a professional, not. She stopped herself, but her tone finished the sentence for her. He nodded slowly. All right, since we're doing this the hard way, he pulled out his phone, tapped a contact, and held it to his ear. Within seconds, a crisp voice answered, loud enough for everyone to hear. Hello, sir. Did the meeting start already? Marlene's eyes widened. That voice, that tone. It was Rebecca Vaughn, the same assistant she'd been exchanging messages with for weeks. Rebecca, the man said, can you clarify something for Mrs. Greeley and the officers? Of course, she replied. Mrs. Greeley, you were scheduled to meet my boss today. He decided to come personally instead of sending me. Marlene blinked rapidly. But I thought you were the investor. No, Rebecca said bluntly. I'm his PA. He's the CEO. The entire acquisition decision is his. Silence. Then the man tucked his phone away. Have you ever seen someone so drunk on power that they forget basic respect? What would you do if the very person calling you a criminal actually needed you to save everything they own? Before we go further, what city or country are you watching from right now? Drop it in the comments. We love seeing where our viewers are tuning in from. And if you believe in accountability, justice, and the kind of karma that hits harder than a courtroom verdict, smash that like button and subscribe to Story Arc, because some stories don't just humble bullies, they remove their entire throne. Officer Collins let out a slow exhale. Ma'am, he said to Marlene, it appears you've misidentified the situation. Marlene stepped back like her legs were turning to sand. Everything she wanted, the deal, the prestige, the chance to rise, it all depended on him, the very man she'd humiliated. I didn't know, she stammered. I was just trying to protect. He cut her off gently but firmly. Protect or profile? Marlene flinched. He continued, I came here to see this neighborhood myself, to see the leadership, to see if this community was worth investing in. Her breathing grew shallow. Please, I can explain. But the damage was already done. Marlene's throat tightened as reality hit her. The man she'd insulted, interrogated, and reported to the police was the one person capable of saving her sinking HOA. Without his investment, Maple Ridge Reserve would collapse. The lawsuits, the unpaid maintenance fees, the broken community center HVAC system she kept hiding, everything would come crashing down. And now he had every reason to walk away. Please, she whispered, voice cracking. I didn't know who you were. If I'd known. That's the problem, he said, his tone steady but cold. You only respect people when you think they're valuable to you. Everyone else is a threat. She shook her head desperately. No, that's not fair. I was defending the neighborhood. You were defending your ego, he corrected. You saw a black man step out of a Rolls-Royce and decided the story couldn't be real unless he was a criminal. You never asked a question. You never listened. You never considered any explanation except the one your prejudice offered. Marlene wiped tears with the back of her hand. I can do better. I swear I can. Just don't pull out of the deal. We need this. The community needs this. The officers stood silently, watching the shift in power unfold. A small group of residents had gathered near the Maple Ridge Community Center entrance, their phones out, their expressions a mix of shame and morbid curiosity. Every eye was on him. He took a breath, calm as always. I came here willing to negotiate, willing to partner, willing to trust your leadership. His gaze hardened. But what I saw today told me everything I need to know about how this neighborhood has been run. Marlene stepped forward. I'm begging you. Don't punish the entire community because of me. I'm not, he said. I'm going to buy the properties, all of them. The acquisition goes forward. Relief flooded her face until he continued. But you, he said quietly, won't be part of it. Marlene froze. What? What do you mean? You're done, he said. You won't be HOA president anymore, and you won't be living in Maple Ridge Reserve either. Her mouth fell open. You can't do that. I can, he replied, and I am. Pack your things. You'll receive formal notice from my legal team by the end of the day. She staggered backward as if struck. Residents whispered. Officers looked away. And Marlene, he added, you're lucky I'm not pressing charges. He turned toward the Maple Ridge Community Center, briefcase in hand, walking with the calm confidence of a man who answered to no one in that neighborhood anymore. Behind him, Marlene finally broke, because the power she'd abused so long had just slipped from her forever. If you believe actions have consequences, especially when power is abused, then hit that like button and subscribe to Story Arc. Because stories like this remind us that respect isn't optional, and karma always knows the way home.